Okay, you all, another video for us. This winter storm has just gotten worse. I will read headlines. Okay, so looks like we have more. Hold up. It decided to do something else. We're gonna read the Newsbreak one, then another headline. Meteorologists says this new forecast just got way worse as fresh data comes in. 14 hours ago by Mark Harris. Survival World. Follow them for more updates. Meteorologist Max Velocity, speaking on his Max Velocity Severe Weather Center YouTube forecast, said this winter storm has taken a huge turn, and the timing could not be more serious. With the system closing in fast, Max said, new data rolling in over the last day has forced a major rethink on where the worst ice pileups and where the historic snow bands set up instead. He framed it plainly. This is shaping up to be the most severe winter storm to hit the southern United States since 2021. With a nasty mix of heavy snow and long-duration freezing rain stretching from Texas towards the East Coast. Max's tone was urgent because the setup isn't just winter weather. It's the kind of storm that breaks routines, knocks out power, and turns roads into traps. And the change he highlighted is the part that makes people nervous. The forecast line is sharp and it's shifting. A huge turn with less than a day to go. Max opened by saying the storm just took a huge turn, calling out a dramatic shift in the model guidance as the storm moved over land. In his breakdown, the big issue is where the most dangerous ice accumulations land, in which areas that might have expectedly mostly sleet or rain could instead see heavy snow. Max also warned the cold air involved in this pattern is extreme. He said temperatures could plunge to 30 degrees below zero in the coldest zones, with wind chills approaching 60 below in parts of the country on Friday and Saturday. That kind of cold matters even for people nowhere near the core of the storm, because Max stressed it eventually pushes south and helps keep frozen precipitation sticking around longer. In other words, this isn't just a quick hit and done. It can linger, refreeze, and stretch impacts out, past the first round. That's when small forecast changes stop feeling like weather nerd stuff and start feeling like real-life consequences. Schools, travel, power, pipes, emergency services, all of it. The timeline Max laid out, hour by hour. Max said the earliest part of the event starts relatively quiet. Using his radar or future radar timeline, he's described lighter activity early, like cold rains in Texas and southern Oklahoma, with internal winter weather starting in Texas and Oklahoma panhandles at light freezing rain. But he pointed to lunchtime as the things begin to ramp up. At the moment things begin to ramp up. Max said areas like Oklahoma City and Tulsa could see light freezing, drizzle, or freezing rain in the early stages. And he made a clear point. That's when you want to start thinking about getting off the roadway. He described the storm being messier late Friday night into Saturday, and Saturday, in Mac's words, in his thing, it hit it, and Saturday, in Max's words, is when this thing explodes into a massive winter storm. He talked about moderate to heavy freezing rain stretching from parts of Texas into Arkansas, with sleet and freezing rain moving into places like Little Rock overnight. Max also described a band of heavy snow that starts more toward the plains than shifts east. He said places in northern Arkansas, including the higher terrain region, could get hit hard. He also described major transitions, with places like Oklahoma City eventually changing over towards snow late Friday night into early Saturday. The way Max described the setup is like a machine adding fuel as it goes. He said moisture feeds in from the Pacific and the Gulf, reinforcing the system Saturday afternoon and evening, and making it broader and more intense instead of winding down. The ice corridor that has Max most worried. Max kept circling back to ice because ice storms don't just slow you down, they tear things apart. He said moderate to heavy freezing rain is expected across the huge swath, especially from Dallas-Fort Worth area toward Little Rock, with at least a quarter inch of ice in spots and potentially much more. Max described a potentially dangerous zone in parts of Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas, where he said some locations could see over an inch of ice accumulation. He didn't mince the words about what that means. Max called that catastrophic warning about trees and power lines getting hammered, and the very real possibility of outages lasting days, and in the worst pockets, maybe a week. He also singled out the Memphis area as a place he thinks could be the worst impacted by the ice side of the storm, especially as freezing rain continues near the Mississippi River corridor. What makes ice so brutal is that it doesn't need a blizzard look to ruin everything. It can be quiet, steady, and destructive. And Max's forecast is basically saying the quiet kind is the kind you should fear. The forecast shift that could pull big cities into the mess. Oh, God, that's bad. Ooh. Oh, it's gonna hit me. I'm gonna get ice and snow. Dang it. The forecast shift that could pull big cities into the mess. One of the most important parts of Max's update was his warning that models have been shifting again, and even small southward shifts can create big consequences. He said a lot of guidance has trended a bit farther south in the last 24 hours. And when the dividing line is that sharp, the difference between cold rain and a damaging ice event can be just a small nudge. Max specifically flagged places like Nashville and Atlanta. He said the ice storm risk for Nashville was starting to increase again, and for Atlanta, he said ice is likely, even if he stopped short of saying it's guaranteed. His message was basically, don't get cute with this forecast. Max said it's better to be safe than sorry, because things can change very quickly. Last second, he also reinforced the European model, shifting back south again, and showing ice and freezing rain getting into areas like Atlanta on Sunday morning. Even if Atlanta doesn't get a full-blown ice storm, Max stretched that some ice accumulation is on the table, and that's enough to create a major problem in a populated area. This is the part that always feels cruel about winter weather in the South. The infrastructure and road treatment just aren't built for it in many places. And Max pointed out that many areas in the Mississippi and Louisiana don't have roads treated like northern cities do. So a little ice can act like a lot. Snow totals that could turn bad into historic. Max didn't just talk ice. He said snow will be one of the biggest headlines from the storm too, especially north of the worst icing corridor. He described a wide zone from Oklahoma into Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio, where 5 to 10 inches could fall. Then he talked about higher end amounts. Max said areas near Tulsa and just north of Oklahoma City could see 12 to 18 inches when it's all over. He also mentioned places like northern Arkansas pushing toward a foot. Farther east, Max said parts of Kentucky, southern Indiana, and southern Ohio could see widespread 6 to 12 inches, with some isolated spots reaching toward 18 inches. Then he moved to the northeast, where his forecast got even louder. Max said places like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and southern New England could see a major winter storm with 12 to 18 inches likely in parts of that region. He said 1 to 2 feet of snow is possible in southern New England and called it potentially the biggest snowfall some parts of New England have seen in years. He also warned about snowfall rates as high as 2 to 3 inches per hour in parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and toward Long Island. That's a kind of rate that turns normal drive into dead stop fast. The sneaky threat after the storm, refreeze and flash freeze. Max also warned about what happens after the first wave. He said even if ice melts in some areas Sunday morning, it can refreeze when the Arctic blast kicks in. That's a detail people forget, and it's why storms like this can feel like they keep restarting. He also mentioned the possibility of a flash freeze in places that may get more rain than ice. He gave the example of areas near Houston where he didn't expect major freezing rain, but he warned that temperatures could drop quickly behind the front, turning wet roads into black ice. That's a nightmare scenario because it catches people who think they missed the storm. You don't have to be in the pink warning zones to end up sliding. You just have to be on a wet road at the wrong time when the cold air punches in. Max's overall message was that travel during this storm is a bad bet. And if you have preparations to make, you make them before the mess, or make them early before the mess expands. You make them early before the mess expands. And he made one more point that's easy to overlook. This pattern may not be done. Max said another winter storm is entirely possible later next week. Because so much Arctic air will be spilling down toward the Gulf Coast, that's not hype. That's the reality of a locked-in cold pattern. So if this forecast got way worse, the bigger warning is that winter may have more surprises queued up behind it. Already seen it.
We are timing out a big winter storm this weekend where we could see snow accumulations range between about 8 to 12 inches. We have a winter storm warning that has been issued and will kick off at about 10 o'clock tomorrow and take you until about noon on Monday. We know travel will be difficult, and we also know there will probably be impacts even extending into next week with school closures, delays, things of that nature. But we will be expecting the highest amount of snow to fall late Saturday into early Sunday, and we have those higher amounts of snow expected with heavy bands setting up, sleet, freezing rain also, and we know that those travel difficulties will extend into next week.
Well, good Wednesday morning. We still have our winter storm system developing, and it's going to be a big impact for parts of the eastern U.S. There's still very high confidence that this winter storm is developing. However, and this is a big however, the forecast track has shifted a bit overnight, and the overnight guidance has taken it a little farther to the north and brought the area of low pressure kind of riding along, that's bringing in some of that moisture, some of the warmer air a little closer to our coastal area, and that's going to impact what we see here in Hampton Roads. Heavy snow still possible across parts of the region, but it has shifted that chance for heavier snow a little farther to the north. It's looking like there may be better chances for some ice or freezing rain and sleet, some mix and rain for parts of our area. So a lot to break down here with the latest guidance. Snow potentials, we take a look at the GFS and the Euro. You can see the Euro has come way down with lighter amounts here, again representing that, or kind of depicting that warmer scenario where the low tracks a little farther to the north, brings in more warm air, and there's more rain or sleet in the mix here closer to the coast. Still some freezing rain potentially. I'll talk more about that. And then the GFS still more bullish on the snow totals, but where we were looking at these models projecting closer to 8, 9, 10 inches or more, you can see the numbers are down significantly this morning, and that's because they've got more warm air in the mix. Still a likelihood of snow in that area of heavier snow farther to the north of our viewing area, but we do have our chances here. Looks like we're going to see some other elements in the mix as well, including the potential for some ice. Now, this is, again, a model output. This is not an absolute forecast. These are just numbers that we're sharing with you coming in from our forecast guidance, and this will continue to change. But you can see as we go through the weekend, there could be some significant amounts of sleet.
Sorry, everybody. I kind of forgot I'm recording a video. I was kind of watching that for my own sake. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. I'll check back in Saturday when it starts to hit us all the way. Some of y'all probably already have all this freaking snow and everything coming in today on a Friday. I'm pretty sure Houston and stuff are already seeing changes. We're gonna get a little viewing of the forecast for me real quick. This is what we're gonna see in the next few. Ooh, that's a lot of snow for me. Damn. Anyways. Excuse me. We're gonna do the forecast. Sorry, I just ate. We're gonna start where we are right now, at about 6:06 p.m. Right here, Dallas is already getting hit with probably some freezing rain and everything. No, Jacksonville down there. Looks like some hurricanes are picking up over here. There's snow going into, there's snow in Spain coming through there. Not a major winter storm, but, uh-oh. Anyways, that's all I've got for you all today. Hope you all can trust me and watch this video, because this is gonna get bad really fast. So stay safe out there, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow if the power isn't out and if I have internet. Bye!